Even though everyone at Sony has tried their best to remain quiet over the past year or so, avoiding showing up at major press events and keeping a tight lid on when and where they talk about their upcoming projects, speculation surrounding the impending PS5 hasn't slowed down one bit. Earlier this year, a bevy of new information came out about the console following an uncharacteristically frank interview with PS4's key architect, Mark Cerny. In an unprecedented move, Sony outright admitted that, yep, a new machine is in development, and even went so far as to outline its major specifications. Unsurprisingly, this led to a whole bunch of reliable leaks and rumors across the past month or so that have shed even more light on the work currently happening at Sony HQ. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and this is PS5 8 brand new leaks and rumors you need to know. Number 8, Insomniac Games might be the first of many acquisitions. Since the start of 2018, Microsoft have been making a point of acquiring new studios to prepare for the next generation. So far, they've added heavy hitters like Double Fine, Obsidian, and Ninja Theory to their ranks in an attempt to challenge Sony's dominance when it comes to high-quality exclusives. However, the PlayStation makers haven't yet really responded by picking up their own stream of new developers, but that could well be changing. Recently, they purchased Insomniac Games after enjoying a working relationship with them for over 20 years, with Spider-Man and Ratchet & Clank being singled out as the major contributing factors. Jim Ryan has spoken in the past about the team picking up new talent, but who could realistically join Insomniac on Sony's first-party slate? Well, Remedy, who recently dropped the mind-bending and awesome Control, have long been rumored, especially now that Microsoft seem no longer interested in them, while Kojima Productions could also be on the cards depending on how well Death Stranding performs. I mean, the PS5 needs more pissing on mushrooms, in my opinion. Sony has a stellar lineup of studios already, but with the company admitting they're prioritizing quality over regular releases going forward, new studios could be drafted in to fill the gap. Number 7, it's going to be expensive because of US tariffs. So far, we have no idea how much the PS5, or the Xbox Scarlet for that matter, is going to cost, but everything seems to be pointing to a pretty high price point. Not only is the tech packed into the machine relatively cutting edge, more on that later, but US tariffs on Chinese exports are going to hike up the cost massively should they continue to be implemented. Recently, all the major console manufacturers spoke out against the tariffs, explaining that they'll end up costing the customer drastically in the long run. Though the exact damage of these tariffs can't be assessed just yet, it has been hypothesized that the average American family could be priced out, meaning something around the $500 mark wouldn't be out of the question. This won't only negatively impact customers though, but rather the industry in the US as a whole, putting, quote, thousands of high-value rewarding US jobs at risk. All in all, if there's no big changes soon, these economic policies will hit the industry hard. I mean, hey, I'll be fine though. I'm sure Brexit will have no impact on how much the PS5 is going to cost me. Love it. Number 6, it will use Microsoft's cloud technology. The tail end of this generation has been all about collaboration. Microsoft and Nintendo have essentially become friends with benefits, with the former bringing their Xbox Live service to the latter's machine, along with a batch of previously exclusive games, while even Sony themselves have broken their self-inflicted exile of jerking it on their own and begun to embrace cross-play in multiplayer releases. However, the next generation of PlayStation could be defined by a partnership nobody ever thought they'd see, one between Microsoft and Sony. The two have joined forces, in their entirety by the way, not just their console departments, to explore collaborative possibilities in the field of cloud technology. Microsoft has pumped plenty of resources into this area already to varying degrees of success, but have finally found some stability in Azure, while Sony's purchase of Gaikai has allowed them to turn their PlayStation Now service around massively. Seriously, it's actually good now. Not Game Pass good, but still pretty good. Whether we like it or not, the big companies are all in on streaming, and the PS5 should benefit from this unlikely partnership as Microsoft and Sony try to stave off Google's influence as much as they can. Number 5, a February 2020 reveal looks likely. One of the most interesting PS5 rumors suggests that Sony are gearing up to take the stage once again early next year to properly unveil their new console. An apparent email has been acquired inviting the major publishers like Activision, EA, and Capcom to the PlayStation 2020 meeting in order to show off their latest next-gen games. Specifically, the event is apparently taking place on February 12th and will function nearly identically to the PlayStation meeting held back in 2013, mere months before the launch of the PlayStation 4. Consequently, there is precedent, and with PSX seemingly ruled out once again for this year, it would make sense for the console maker to get out before E3 for their first big next-gen push. They've clearly avoided this year's E3 and other press events for a reason, and one can only assume that's to have the strongest possible lineup of surprises and reveals for their own focused event, which could only be a matter of months away. Number 4, Ghost of Tsushima is a launch title. Another tidbit doing the rounds alongside the reveal that planning for the PlayStation Meeting 2020 is underway is that Sony's wanting to have a stellar launch lineup prepared for the console's arrival. While the PS4's first string of games weren't terrible, they were hardly amazing either, with the likes of Killzone, Shadowfall, and Knack doing a decent job to get people interested, but failing to be the proper killer apps the machine needed. That seems to have been taken into consideration this time around though, and recent rumors suggest that Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima is being retooled to be the standout next-gen exclusive. Considering the titles Sony's officially unveiled so far, it seems the best candidate to be pushed out for the hardware launch. Death Stranding is dropping this November, while The Last of Us 2 has long been rumored to be an early 2020 release, with the latest leak suggesting May rather than February, leaving Ghost as the remaining PlayStation first-party title. There are a few other big names locked in as well, Call of Duty Black Ops 5 and probably a new Battlefield to name a few, but Sony are apparently queuing up Sucker Punch's latest to be their killer app. You know what, that's pretty good, rather that than Knack 3. Number 3, the GPU competes with high-end PC graphics cards. As mentioned earlier, Sony have revealed a surprising amount when it comes to the technology the PS5 is being built around, plainly discussing their AMD chips and the custom SSD the company plans on implementing. But a new report has shed even more light onto just how powerful these next-generation machines are actually going to be. According to one leak, the AMD Oberon APU that acts as the core of the PS5 is currently in the testing phase, and the results have put the machine's GPU ahead of most high-end PCs. It's currently running at 2 GHz, which puts it roughly at double the power of the PS4 Pro and well ahead of the Xbox One X. In terms of PC capabilities, it also means the PS5's GPU is more powerful than the Nvidia GeForce RTX 2070 Super, which released earlier this year, to a hefty chunk of change, and I have been informed by the techies in the office is a pretty damn impressive piece of kit. Back when the PS4 and Xbox One launched, the biggest worry was that the hardware was already worse than a lot of PCs at the time, an issue Sony seems intent of avoiding this time around. Even better, this is only after one round of testing, and performance should be even higher when the console actually ships. Speaking of, number 2, a holiday 2020 release date, but it could be later. The release date for Sony's new console has long been touted to be holiday 2020, and that does seem like a safe bet, but it's not guaranteed. Yeah, it's the date that makes the most sense, as Microsoft are planning to release their next-gen machine in the same window, and it would also line up with the alleged date for the PlayStation meeting next year, but it requires a lot of rumors to be true to totally make sense. Because outside of these insider leaks, the only official line from Sony themselves has been that a new machine won't be launching at any point between April 2019 and May 2020. That still leaves the door open for late 2020, obviously, but the company has also stated that the PS4 will still be the focus of growth for at least the next 3 years, which could suggest they're not looking to rush out another console purely to match the competition. After all, the PS4 has an astonishing install base, as well as some pretty major exclusives yet to come. Sony might not want to overshadow those swan songs and instead opt for an early 2021 release. Holiday 2020 would be more conventional, but nothing is ever really conventional when it comes to PlayStation, is it? I mean, if the Switch can launch early in the year to massive sales, then why can't the PS5? Number 1, that crazy V design. By far, the strangest leak to drop over the past few months doesn't concern the specs or the software or even the price, but just how the console is going to look. Now, usually the visual design of a new machine is something which comes right at the very end of production, but a new patent filed in August has offered fans a glimpse of what the new console could actually look like, which were given a 3D render by Let's Go Digital. It's certainly interesting and far bulkier than what you'd expect following the sleek PS4. The huge vents on each side of the machine also look a little garish, while the V indent could suggest that Sony are going down the Roman numeral route for their next console rather than sticking with the conventional numbering. And if they do that, I have to ask, what is the deal with just sticking V on the end of games that should be 5? I mean, we've had Devil May Cry V, we've had Metal Gear Solid V, now we're going to have PlayStation V. I don't buy it, okay? There have been suggestions that the patent could actually be for the dev kit rather than the eventual consumer product, but we already know that dev kits have been out in the wild for a while now, and usually they're designed to look closer to PCs than actual consoles. As a result, this could genuinely be the design Sony end up going with, but more likely than not, it's just one of many designs to consider. After all, it would be a bit weird if it was already locked down and not subject to change. I mean, remember when the PS3's controller was supposed to be shaped like a boomerang? These things don't often last, and in this case, it's probably for the best. So that's our list. I want to know down in the comments what you guys think of the impending announcement of the PlayStation 5. It has to come sooner rather than later. Surely, at least a guy can dream. And while you're down there, can you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to WhatCulture.com for more listening news like this every single day. Also, thank you to the mysterious benefactor who sent in this shirt. I am absolutely loving it. I might wear it on every night out from here on in. Either way, though, I've been Josh. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.